Hello Libra, Sun, Moon, Rising, and Venus signs. Welcome to your tarot reading here at the Intuitive Teacup. I'm happy to have you all. Please come into this tarot reading with an open heart and an open mind. Take away only what resonates for you and please release the rest. Trust your own intuition above all else because you are accountable and responsible for all your own actions and decisions. All right, that's my spiel. Let's set the intention now to get my Libra gang out there some clear, helpful, and insightful messages wherever they are currently at on their spiritual path. All right, Libra, I'm excited to read for you today. I feel like I'm in good energy for this Libra reading, so let's get some positive messages. What might be coming into you at the beginning of eclipse season? We have a full moon lunar eclipse in your sign at 5 degrees of Libra. That's going to be around Monday, March 25th. So we're doing a little sneak preview of what's to come. So let's get like a 3-card storyline. What can I tell my lovely Libra gang, my lovely Libras? The 9 of Cups, a little bit of wish fulfillment. I want to read into that more though, because it's like there's wish fulfillment, but there's still like this, I don't know if you're anticipating more to come. It's like self-fulfillment and self-happiness, but it could be like now you're waiting for your person. It's like you've ticked the box of some sort of personal goal that's brought a lot of like happiness and abundance into your own personal life, but it's like, but you're looking for that 10th cup, right? So, typically this is self-satisfaction, something that you've done for yourself. And maybe it involves other people, but yeah, it's like we're looking to get to that 10th cup, and maybe a lot of you are thinking about long-term partnership. And it doesn't have to be that, but with the Hierophant, yeah, I mean, this may involve a Taurus, this may involve a Pisces, this certainly doesn't have to. I'm hearing it's electric. Isn't that a song? What is that? Is that the Electric Slide? I have no idea what that is, but I literally heard it's electric. Probably with that lightning bolt, there's something very Aquarian about that as well. I always associate that with Aquarius. Hierophant. Some of you, this is very specific and random, but just in a very short way, it's like your boss is sending you off on some sort of mission and you want to do a good job. It's like you want to please them, you want to impress them, you want to do right by them. Others of you, it's like you're introducing your significant other to your family, and it's the same message. It's like as you introduce this person into the gang, into the mix, it's like you want them to be liked, you want them to be included, you want them to be loved, you want them to be, an essential piece of the puzzle. You do have soulmate energy coming through with the 4 of Wands, the Hierophant, and the 9 of Cups. That's what I mean. It's like, give me one more on this 9 of Cups. There's just something very unusual about this person's face, because usually 9 of Cups is like elated, and here like it's very understated. It could be that you've gone through some sort of recent success or period of transformation, but you're keeping your cards close to your chest. You haven't necessarily revealed to the world that I don't know, you're on the up and up. Is that the right word? It's like you're experiencing some sort of glow up, and yet it's almost like your outward appearance isn't matching what's going on internally, because it almost feels a little bit somber of like, I have so much joy and happiness right now, but I still wish this, or I wish I had that, and so careful with that message. I mean, obviously gratitude is very important in order to manifest anything you want. But with the 9 of Cups, it says to me, like, you are in a very good position. You are in an advantageous position. I have to trust my intuition. And a lot of you, it's like, life is good, but you know what would make it just a little bit more sweeter or perfect is that person. So careful, because you don't want to project your own determination of happiness onto someone else coming into your life and quote unquote rescuing you. And I'm not saying all of you are doing that. I just, Libra is a sign associated with partnership. Like, I'm not faulting you for that. There's huge benefits to being in partnerships and team dynamics and all those sorts of things. That's very natural. Libra wants to balance. It's the scales. You can't balance with just one. You need the two. You need the partnership, right? And with the Hierophant, I mean, that's a very good indication that there is something coming in that's going to be a more formal commitment or something more in alignment with tradition. Yeah, I didn't even shuffle. So the 4 of Wands wants to be seen. I looked at it a couple times. Some of you may be attending a wedding. And again, this is random. Some of you are asked to perform at this wedding or give a speech, or you may be in part of the bridal party, in which case, like, you're very seen there. Yeah, a lot of you, it's like you're giving a speech, or, I don't know, maybe you're performing a song or a poem or something like that. Some of you are just teachers, and you get up and you stand and talk in front of people on the regular. With the Hierophant, there's something very important about a speech or an address or an announcement or something of the sort. Okay, so some of you are getting proposed to, and it's been very hush hush. You've been keeping it a secret, and so there's going to be a more formal or traditional announcement of this coupling. Others of you could potentially connect with someone at a wedding. I know that's kind of like a Cinderella type story, but it happens. It happens. Just putting it out there. You may even have a good friend of yours, specifically a Taurus or a Pisces. I mentioned that earlier. Maybe like shipping you and someone else. You may have a good friend who's trying to hook you up with someone else who they know is like single and looking or whatever, in which case you guys may come together and jive really, really well. The moon, yeah, so Pisces wants to be seen again. Embrace the unknown, embrace the unknowing. This is actually a very lovely moon card. Sometimes the moon card can be very ominous and scary and deep within our subconscious. This literally feels like it is referencing the full moon that's happening in your sign, where it's like you are big and you are bright. You're being illuminated by the sun in Aries, so that it's like you're very visible. You're being put up on a pedestal or on a platform right now. Some of you literally like getting in some sort of project or role where it's almost like you're entertaining for a little bit, like again, the idea of like performing a speech or a poem or whatever it is. Others of you, it's just like you're just very visualized right now. People are seeing you, you're attracting people. It's like the aesthetic, it draws the eye. Maybe you're going through some sort of glam up or transformation. I do think there's a Pisces who's interested in you too. I see that coming through, but they're a little bit intimidated or timid to approach you. Something about the voice or a singer or a musician is coming through. That might be for you, but that might be in regards to this person as well. There could also be a little bit of like interference with a Cancer. I don't know what that means, but yeah, like, I don't know. There could be a Cancer like peeking in on you, and I'm not sure if that's good or bad. I almost get third party, but it doesn't necessarily mean like cheating. It could be that you have multiple options if you aren't already committed, or maybe you just got engaged and your Cancer ex is coming back to be like, oh hey, what's up, Libra, and you're like, oh, terrible timing. It could be something like that. Anyway, so here's what we know. Partnership is definitely coming to light for you, so we're going to do an actual spread. Here for Libra and see if they come out again, then great. So that's sort of a taste of what some of you may experience during eclipse season, which is, don't get me wrong, it's not just the one date. It's when it's because the nodes are in Aries and Libra, the North Node and the South Node. So when the new moons and the full moons occur around those placements, we experience eclipse season. All right, here we go. So for Libra, past, present, and future. Again, a preview of maybe what they might experience in eclipse. Look at that. That is insane. Exact same card. So in the past, you have wish fulfillment. In the present, that's what I mean. You are coming off of some sort of period of self-satisfaction where things really came together for you. And just to reiterate, make sure, are you appreciating that, Libra? Like, look around you. Think of yourself 10 years ago and just how far you've come. Presently, you have the Six of Cups. All right, so Six of Cups can be nostalgia. It can be very sentimental feeling energy. It's Scorpio energy too. So, Sun in Scorpio really highlights, the past and deep feelings. For this, it almost feels like reflecting back on your childhood, something about a neighborhood, the street you grew up on. It could be friends, or I'm almost thinking something about like your first crush, like your schoolyard crush or something about that. So then what is the outcome here? So it's funny that I said to you, think of yourself 10 years ago. What would you have thought of yourself had you told them, where you're going to be today? I think you literally are doing that. It's like reflecting back on your own childhood presently, how far you've come, and understandably where you want to go in the future. But remember, ground yourself with gratitude too. It can't just be future projection, because then you're always going to be wanting more. You're never going to soothe that desire for happiness if you project happiness as something that you have to accomplish in the future. So future, what can I tell them? Future is the Six of Swords. All right, so progress, but there's something that's a little bit treacherous or a slippery slope or needing to approach cautiously or with care or to be discerning. Some of you, it's like, and I don't have a pulse on what this is, but I'm just being called to say, is it worth the risk? To go back for that sword? Do you really need it? It has to do with going back to the past for something. Is it going to help you? Is it going to elevate you? Is it going to be a healthy choice to go back? This almost has like a Five of Swords energy, even though it's the Six. It's like we've made progress, we've made strides, we've moved ahead, and yet there's something that's still calling us back to our past. We have, especially mentally, we have trouble disconnecting our narrative presently with our narrative from the past. And in some ways, I'm wanting to say, well, yeah, because I mean, your past has informed who you are, but are you carrying burdens and projections of a narrative or a storyline? Are you projecting that onto yourself when the universe is like, we can release that now? It's like, you know, it's sort of still looking at yourself as the chrysalis or the cocoon, the worm, when it's like, but you're the butterfly now. So why do we want to go back in that shell, in that, I'm almost wanting to say I'm hearing the word like enclosed or encasement. That's not a word. You know what I'm trying to say. Something about being in an enclosure. It almost has an Eight of Swords energy too, where it's like your own mental prison, where you hold yourself back, like limited beliefs or a self-restriction in terms of what you're meant to acquire or grow into or accomplish in this life, in any sense or any capacity. So what is supporting Libra best? What is supporting? Keeping your options open and being open to the universe dropping fun surprises in your path. You know, ultimately this is a Jupiter card, and I love this card too because, you know, sometimes the Two of Pentacles, I may have said Two of Swords, apologies if I did. Sometimes the Two of Pentacles can be very much like, you know, indecision energy, or, you know, do I have room for both? Do I need to delegate? Do I need to separate? Is it the infinity loop? How long can I do this? This person looks really happy because they've made room for what is meant for them. And so there's room for them to acquire more. There's room for them to take on more responsibility. And they seem very happy to do so. I think this is also reminding you, you're capable of more than you know. And because it's next to this Scorpio card, I'm almost wanting to say, especially for those of you who are cuspy with Scorpio, or maybe have like a Mercury or a Venus in Scorpio, the extremeness, the all or nothing of Scorpio energy can very much contradict the need for balance and, you know, equality, but, you know, taking things in stride that Libra's principle stands for, right? The scales versus kind of the extreme nature of Scorpio, like all or nothing, you know? And so with that, I think you're being asked to not go to the extreme on anything if you do kind of sometimes fall into the pitfalls of Scorpio energy. And don't get me wrong, Scorpio has lovely qualities too, but sometimes it can self-sabotage. It can be the Scorpio that stings itself to death, right? Especially when feelings and emotions get involved. So it's almost like temper those. Find a good balance, a little bit of this and a little bit of that. Keeping your options open would be helpful to you right now, and also just keeping it light, keeping it fun, keeping it silly. Not everything has to be done with absolute perfectionism and seriousness, despite what you may be telling yourself, right? And again, just being open to the unknown and blessings coming from the divine. And your ability to, bear with me, but it's like your ability to fly now. I keep hearing the music from the soundtrack to Rocky keeps coming into my readings, and I don't know why. Was that your reading last time? I think it was Aquarius's reading. I started like humming the Rocky soundtrack. I don't know. You know that song Gonna Fly Now, right? It's not Eye of the Tiger, it's the other one. It's like when he's running up the stairs, I think. Something about Gonna Fly Now. That's symbolic though because of the butterflies. Again, there's this idea of you still view yourself as the worm or as the person in the cocoon going through this mushy gushy transformation and maybe not feeling necessarily like you have a firm ground or a firm footing. You might be out of your element or second guessing or trying to embrace a new chapter but feeling very self-conscious, like you're new at this or you're wet behind the ears or you have so much more to learn. Yes, but there's nothing wrong with that. You can still be the butterfly. You're still beautiful in all forms, right? So yeah, just watch your self-criticism because that is coming into this a little bit. I do think the universe is throwing some fun rewards at you, but something about this seems unexpected, like an unexpected windfall or an unexpected surprise of like a chance encounter or meeting up with an old friend you haven't seen in years, but it's not something you planned. It just kind of, it happened. And it's going to nudge you out of your comfort zone, but not in a way where you're holding on to dear life for what used to be. It's like, oh, this just naturally feels like it's okay to let go of this because now I have this in my life. Yeah, that seems nice. So, qualities that Libra is being asked to heed or advised to maybe grow into or lean into, advice on how to grow. There's your Four of Wands again. Embrace partnership, embrace teamwork. I'm possibly getting on a good I'm hearing a good note, getting back on a good note or back in good graces with family, complicated family dynamics. And that may not resonate for all of you, but I do see something about family and sort of embracing them, faults and all. You know, we don't choose family. That's, you know, that's what is assigned to us. That's what we grow up into. And I think there, you can go with like Scorpio energy, like the extremes of, you know, not wanting to ever look back of, you know, where I came from, or maybe doing some assessment of like the damage that was done to me. But then there's, again, then you go back into that Libra energy. I'm definitely dealing with people who have Scorpio in their chart. I can feel it in this reading because it keeps teetering on, that's it, I'm never looking back. But you know what, at the end of the day, we all love each other. Like it goes from extreme Scorpio into like, okay, let's get back into balance Libra energy. And ultimately, I am reading Libra energy. So I'm going to advise you that balance here is what is good. Balance here is what's going to be required. It doesn't have to be this all or nothing. It's emerging. It's allowing things to work together, even if they are different, or even if they have different perspectives or dynamics or backgrounds. It's finding that common ground. It's finding that middle ground, especially in family dynamics. There is some sort of family celebration or family reunion. You may be attending a wedding where some of your family members are there. There could be a news of a baby. There could be news of your own engagement or wedding or some sort of birthday party celebration. And the Hanged Man. So something about the sacrifices you've made for your own family, or where you felt like a victim or martyr or had to self-sacrifice in order to help bring someone else's dreams come true. That may have to do with a sibling. There's definitely some sort of dynamic where you felt like you've had to hold your tongue or allow someone else to take the limelight and step back in the shadows in order to, that it's very Libra energy. It's like, I'm going to pass the mic to you because it's all about sharing. But I think the universe is saying, but we've somehow gotten out of whack in that. And so it's like, we have to remember to include ourselves in that, and to remember like we are worthy. Like we're part of what sets the scales into equality. If we are constantly passing things off and letting someone else, it's, I'm getting like Kanye West metaphors, like, I'm gonna let you finish, but first. No, but it's like we can't constantly pass the mic and be so diplomatic and, oh, no, after you, I insist. Sometimes you need to go first too. That's part of the balance of this too. And that especially has to do with family dynamics. I don't know why this is coming through, but putting everyone else before you, and then it's like you're left with the breadcrumbs or you're left with nothing. And a lot of you were happy to do that for many years because it's almost like you were taught that was your role or that was your responsibility or that's what it meant to be a mother, a daughter, a sister, a feminine, a masculine, a brother, a father, whatever it is. It's like that was sort of ingrained in you in some sort of dynamic. It's what you were preached or what you were taught. And so you had you only know what you know. But now that you're the butterfly, you're starting to see like, well, things get really out of whack and out of balance when I do constantly serve others. When I essentially, act as the doormat, that doesn't work out for me. And so there's a quiet leadership. There's a gentle desire for you to be like, as you're speaking and someone goes to grab the mic, oh, I'm not quite done yet. Like you're correcting them in a firm way, but it's still very pleasant. It's still very Libra. It's still very, benevolent. It's very Libra energy. It's Venus ruled, but it's like you can't do partnership without me. Like I'm an essential piece to the puzzle. And I think you're starting to see that in a new way. And it's not to criticize yourself or put yourself at blame or fault or feel guilty. Like none of that crap, right? This is just sort of accepting and being able to see the fault in your master plan in the past and understanding where self-sacrifice didn't make you happy and self-sacrifice didn't really help anyone else because it was almost like you were enabling maybe people who are a little bit more selfish, or I don't know if I want to use the word narcissistic. I think that's a little bit overused, but more or less people who needed to learn the lesson of sharing by you being like, no, you go ahead. You're denying both yourself the lesson or the gift of what you were meant to do, the role you were meant to live out. So anyway, you are starting to see that from a different dynamic. I think Some of you were already very much aware of that, where you had to like mute or edit or make yourself small, especially in a family dynamic. And then I think you went to some extreme where you started to be like, my family was the enemy. Like they were going against me. They didn't have my best intentions in mind. And then it comes full circle where like maybe as an adult now, or maybe, as you've matured through the years, you see it through a different perspective or through different eyes. And you're like, they really weren't the enemy. Like they only knew what they knew. They grew up in a different generation. And just because they taught me that, it doesn't mean that it was right or that they were trying to do me a disservice. It's like there's a greater understanding about family dynamics and why things went the way they went. And I don't think you're holding a grudge. I think you're coming at this situation, these people, this topic, this problem. I think you're coming at it with more compassion. It's not about validating what was done to you or justifying what was done to you. Again, very Libra, the justice, right? But coming from at a place of trying to understand where they were at and how it impacted you, but also where you now have the skills, the agency, the ability to move past that and right the wrong and correct the path for yourself. It's like, I keep getting this too, the GPS, it's like rerouting. I keep getting that in all the readings. In fact, I think that came up in Scorpio's last reading too. You guys may want to check out that reading as well. So what is known about the situation? What do we need to remind Libra of? Hashtag facts, the reality, something we need to incorporate or embrace because it is what it is. What is the facts? There's movement. There's heavy shifts and changes. For some of you, long distance travel may come into this, as well as far reaching. It's like we need to remember to see the forest from the trees. We may get so stuck in it that we lose our perspective. And this is like Cupid's arrows sailing across like almost the ocean, right? It's like this is far greater reaching than you realize. Some of you are going to have huge growth and expansion in your business. And I'm hearing something about your writing or your voice or sharing your unique talents and gifts. It's going to be more far reaching than you realize. Something about marketing or publicity or publication is coming through for some of you. And I mean, it's coming up in what you know, though, so you may already have a pulse on this. Others of you, it's like absence makes the heart grow fonder. So by separating from something that was keeping you trapped or stuck, and maybe that's external to you, maybe that's someone else, you start to see it from a different perspective with some room and time and distance in a relationship. Others of you have had the epiphany, and again, this isn't for everybody, but it's for some of you. You can't keep running away from yourself. You can't keep running away from your problems because what you don't tend to now, it eventually does catch up with you. It's like it's very like karmic, like the rules of karma and balance. So some of you, there's this epiphany. It doesn't matter where I go. It doesn't matter what job I'm at. It doesn't matter what city I live in or who I'm dating. Those problems that still trigger me, they're coming from an internal place where I actually have to shine light on my own darkness in order to heal it and fix it or mend it, remove it, just give it attention, right? It doesn't even have to be solving the problem, but just recognizing an internal problem. It's not going to be solved or fixed by constantly moving or shifting or changing your external scenario. A lot of you know this, you're just being reminded of that. There could be a long distance trip or travel in your future. It might just be for fun and pleasure. It might be to relocate for a job. You might be getting messages from a distance as well. And then what is unknown? What is in the shadows? What is hidden? There could be some sort of formal announcement. Again, for some of you, it may be a marriage announcement or engagement announcement. Yeah, so what's hidden in the shadows, though, I think we've actually revealed a little bit of it here, which is fine, right? That's what tarot is for. You are fighting against yourself for the most part. It was you. It was like that inner self-saboteur. You had to, again, shine light on the darkness in order to acknowledge the problem and what was going on. And it's almost like you were making things more difficult or more challenging than they need to be by operating under a certain mentality of, maybe the way you thought it had to be. There's a certain element of like, not brainwashing, but again, you only know what you know. However you grew up, whoever you grew up with, that was your point of reference for what's quote unquote normal or expected. A lot of you had to break away from that. You had to bust free. And for a lot of you already did this whole, butterfly. It's like you've flown, you've moved away from the house, the home, the roots, the cocoon, and now you're out in the world and you're starting to see things from a different perspective. And a lot of you, if you haven't already, you're going to have this recognition like, it was me who was holding me back. For the most part, right? Again, it's not about blame. It's not about shame. It's not about guilt. It's about taking your power back. It's ultimately that idea of like, oh shit, like I chose to engage in that. I chose to do that. Or I thought I had to do this. Or, I was taught to believe this. And when the rug is pulled out from under you, that gives you the freedom and liberation to rewrite the narrative. So a lot of you are like, oh, it was me. It was me the whole time. So the duality, the card of duality. Again, is it worth it? That's something that's coming up here. And I do think that has to do with returning back to the past and possibly confronting someone. And here's why you're being asked, is it worth it? Are you bringing something to the table to discuss that is going to promote healing? Or is it coming from a place of feeling like you need to put someone in their place and let them know that they hurt you? And that's a decision you have to make for yourself. Is it worth it? What are you going to gain from this and benefit? If it's I need you to know that you did me wrong, is it coming from a place of I need my ego soothed? Or is it ultimately like, that person did me wrong, I recognize it, and so I'm going to change my behavior around them or my boundaries around them, and using that as an opportunity for empowerment rather than maybe like shaming someone else for their bad behavior. There is something here, but is it worth it? Is it worth going back? Is it worth going back to have a conversation with someone too who they didn't see your value? And are you going back hoping that they do now? Because maybe that was never meant for you. There's a couple messages coming through there. And then this duality of opposition, knowing what battles are worth fighting for and worth struggling for. Again, what is the end goal? I think that's what you really need to ask in terms of the meter or the measure of if it's worth pursuing. Because for some of you, I almost see this as, it's almost like if, quote unquote, God, whatever you believe in, closes a door, they open a window. It's like if you have a goal or a dream, you're still going to get to it, but you may have to take the path less traveled. Excuse me, I'm getting over a cold, bear with me. So for some of you, it's like not taking no for an answer, not asking permission from a certain person or people to do that thing that's going to make your heart whole and happy. It's like, I'll find a way. So in a way, this opposition is good because it's challenging you to be the best version of yourself and to really lean into your inner confidence and your inner strength. And as we said, you're far more capable than you realize. Others of you, if this opposition is trying to get someone to see your value and your worth and to finally pick you, I think the universe is asking, why are you choosing to engage in a quote unquote love relationship where it's teaching you that love has to be hard and that love has to be a struggle? Is it worth it? And again, I'm not here to say yay or nay. I'm here to pose these questions to you so that you can contemplate, again, what is the end goal? And just being really honest with ourselves. What is our underlying motivation for doing this? Is it because it's going to make our life better? And where do we need to take ownership of our own happiness and fulfillment and self-satisfaction versus if I could only let this person know that I still love them so that they see me in this way. And like, do you know what I mean? It's like, expecting things from others puts us in a very tricky or treacherous, slippery slope position of falling into the pits of disappointment, putting the fate of our lives in the hands of other people and that heavy decision of like, oh, if they choose me, that means something. And it doesn't, because you can always choose yourself. You can always choose yourself. All right, let's do one of these for Libra. I hope this was meaningful to some of you. This feels heavy, but in a good way. Like a lot of soul contemplation happening. The self versus the other, right? That is the Libra Aries polarity and the Libra Aries axis, and that's where these full moons and the eclipses are happening. So yeah, there's a lot of contemplation about who I am on my own versus who I am in a group with others in one-on-one partnership. What does that look like, and am I happy? What is my legacy there? What does that look like from a distance? Sometimes we lose ourselves. Again, forest from the trees. Perspective is going to be very important and is very important. There's going to be some sort of travel or expedition that's almost like a pilgrimage. It's like a spiritual soul searching that's going to be so healthy and healing and cathartic. Just say yes. Just do it. Book the plane travel or book the trip, book the hotel, book the whatever it is. It's probably with a group of people. It feels very spiritual. It doesn't have to be, but it's like, do it. Just do it. Okay, so this says manifest. You're always manifesting. Whether you're aware of it or not, manifestation is based on your thoughts, and you are being asked to manifest consciously through positive thinking so you'll attract into your life exactly what you are wanting. And then this says resolution. Whatever it is that you've been struggling with is about to be resolved. Remember that resolutions don't always happen in the way we hope or want, but being able to move forward and start fresh always brings relief. And then a love oracle card for the Libras who are interested. Any short message I can share with them. A love oracle card. So this says choice. And it's associated with the card of Gemini, which is sort of, I would offer any air sign is about duality, but especially Gemini too. I do feel like there's someone peeking in on you. I feel like this feels very Aquarian, Scorpio, Pisces, possibly Gemini because it did come out in the card. I don't see this necessarily as making a choice between different lovers or different partners. I see this as making a choice between self-respect and maybe going back to someone who didn't make you feel great about yourself in the past. I think it's really important in any relationship to look at how does that person make you feel about yourself. That's something I've been saying on my channel a lot lately because it very much applies to what we're going through, right? So I will say this, Libra. This is what your Six of Swords is. You may have an opportunity to revisit a connection of your past that at the time was not super healthy or high vibe. It felt codependent. It felt toxic. It felt karmic in that you guys were meant to impact each other, learn something, and break away. Or impact, break away, and learn something in that period of solitude. Something is coming back. Something is knocking on your door. I can't tell you from what I'm seeing here if this person has changed their ways, but I can tell you with certainty that you are not the same person that you were, whatever it was, 2 months ago, 2 years ago, 5 years ago, 10 years ago. And so you have choices to make. You have something to contemplate. Maybe that's what these messages being sent back and forth are, is trying to get a pulse on where is this person at, and are they reaching out because they miss you, because, they're still lacking that thing in their life that they were trying to live out through you? Or have you both gone through some sort of soul work or transformational work, and it's like, you want to try this again? Again, that duality is like, to me, it's like this could go either way. So keep your options open, be open-minded, but ultimately, act in a way that honors your own self-worth and value. All right, Libra, that's what I got for you. This is a heavy one, but I really liked it. Thanks for joining me today, guys. I appreciate you. Show me some love. Hit the like button. Smash the thanks button if you want to leave a tip or a donation. If you want to leave a positive comment, that would be super helpful. It helps my channel grow. It helps me find a greater audience on YouTube. I invite you to subscribe to the channel and hit the notification bell so you will be alerted when I post my readings. And if you want more content from me, I am on Instagram and Facebook as The Intuitive Teacup. Thanks for joining me today, Libra, and I will see you soon for more tarot. Bye, guys.